Hey, and welcome back to Talking to Artists. As many of you may have known this morning, if you joined me at 11 o'clock, I was supposed to introduce to you Litsa Spanos, who I was very excited to talk to Litsa. But unfortunately, she had a client commitment. And as we know, clients take precedence over other artists. So anyway, she has agreed to join us now, and I'm hoping she will come on board. And if you did miss this morning's, it will be posted on my Instagram Live. And Angela and I talked a little bit about really how to do an outdoor show, how to prepare for a show, how to look at doing your pricing. I apologize, it was a little bit messy as it was very spontaneous, and Angela was not was not totally ready to go forward with that. I caught her a bit unawares. So anyway, we're just going to give Litsa a few minutes to join us, and then hopefully we can talk to her. She has a lot of amazing information to share, so I'm pretty excited to talk to her. Just sort of, oops, going to grab this here. Okay, and she basically runs two gorgeous galleries, of which she actually did the renovations all during COVID, so that was an incredibly brave thing to do. She also wrote a book called Secrets of the Art World, which is designed for artists to kind of become better artists. And here she is, so I'm going to invite her on. Running out of things to say. Hey!
Oh, finally.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Really good, thanks. Yeah, and I apologize. I was sort of, I basically mentioned, of course, clients always take precedence over things like this, over marketing and interviews. So.
Oh my gosh. So I apologize for not being there a little earlier, but I'm here now.
That's great.
So,
that's perfect. Yeah. We did a very spontaneous session on how to do an outdoor show, so that was fine.
Good.
So I was just saying that, you're like a total Wonder Woman. I don't know how you do everything that you do. I'm sure you hear that all the time. But with two gorgeous galleries, running the Blink Art Resources, as well as writing the book, how to survive Corona in the art world for artists, which is really amazing. But I would love to start with your family, because it sounds like you got a lot of your strength and power and resilience from kind of your family.
Yeah. So I was born in Greece, and I have one sister who's also in the business with me, Sylvia. She is pretty awesome. But so we were little girls in Greece, and my father's family decided to move to the U.S. And he was the oldest of the children, so he was also in the military, and so he decided to stay back while his parents and then his siblings moved to the U.S. And then after a few years, they said, "You've got to come. This is the land of opportunity." So he picked up us. We each had a suitcase, and off we went.
Wow.
And we landed in New York City, and his sister picked us up, and here we are in Cincinnati. So it's been quite the journey.
That's incredible. Well, it's a classic, immigrant success story, isn't it? I mean, now you're running these two multi-million-dollar galleries and won all these entrepreneur awards, and now in partnership with your sister, which is pretty amazing.
It's pretty exciting.
Sister power.
Yeah, definitely. And we love your sister too, for sure.
Yeah, she's great.
Ellen is great. Yeah.
So I get asked a lot about, I would say probably about once every 2 weeks, I have someone reach out to me about Blink and about the Blink Resource Guide and what is it and should they do it. And, obviously I think I've been about 4 years now with Blink. So maybe you can talk about how that came about and how you use that to help artists kind of build their practice.
Sure. So the reason I started Blink is mainly because I got asked by so many artists, how can I get my art in a hotel in Vegas? How can I get my art in a gallery in New York City? What can I do to sell more art? And so, there's only so much I can do, although I try to do a lot. There's only so much I can do. So I thought, why can't I get this artwork, all these artists out there, even on a larger, broader basis? And so I thought, what? I'm going to publish a book, and it's going to be beautiful. But it's not going to be for anybody's coffee table. It's a working book. It's a book meant to inspire people like us in the trade to reach out to artists. So it's just beautiful. It's called Blink, and we print 10,000 copies every year, and we send them out to people like me, art gallery owners, consultants, art consultants. We also send them out to facility managers, because a lot of times the people in those facility managers in like larger corporations or hospitals, they're people that fill their walls with artwork. They're responsible for artwork. Believe it or not, the facilities managers. I've worked with many, as well as interior designers throughout the country, both commercial and residential. So we send the book out. We put the artist's best pieces in the book, and we give them, in each book is their website as well as their email address, so people can reach out to them and they can get their work out there even more. So that's really the main reason for the book, is to help artists succeed. That's my mission.
One of the things I really love about that, because, you know, as artists too, you get you get bombarded with all these opportunities, and so many of those opportunities benefit the printer of the book or the organizer of the organization, and then don't really benefit the artist. But one of the things I love about this is the opportunity for the gallerist or the art consultant to either work with the artist directly or to work through you with the artist if the artist doesn't want to do it that way.
Right.
And I think that's really wonderful for the artist. Yeah.
Yes. So every artist that's in the book, we also represent. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody. The artists get out there on a national basis and get their work seen by a lot of different people. If someone calls them, if an interior designer calls you, Kate, and says, you know, I love your work, I saw it in Blink, or whatever, then you will work with them. We don't make anything off of that. But what happens is all the artists in the book I love, so I represent them and to also show and sell their work. And if we do that, we will take our typical 50% commission. So we all benefit from that. We get new talent to be able to show and sell, and they get exposure and new opportunities all over.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know that the first time that I got a call too from an art gallery reached out, and actually I got a call from ADC first to kind of say, hey, just want to let you know I've researched them. They're a legitimate gallery. You know, like I know you probably haven't heard of them before, but it's cool to work with. And I think the first one was actually Karen Paul out of Grand Rapids, who I still regularly do work with. So that's wonderful. Yeah.
Congratulations. We just love to hear the success stories.
Oh, yeah, lots of them. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I do have a weird question, though, because it's interesting to me. You know, obviously Canada and the US has very different regulations and stuff around healthcare, but I'm interested how many healthcare organizations in the US buy original art. Like, I think it's wonderful because it's so beneficial and emotional, but
I think every single one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big deal. The healthcare industry is a big deal. So, and they're all very competitive, and they all want those patients. So they want their facilities to be the most beautiful ever. So not just for the patients, of course, for the patients, but for all their guests, for all the employees, for everybody. Art is healing. It's beautiful. It's perfect for healthcare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been pretty wonderful. So for me, I've been very happy with it. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And now you've introduced, I think, a spring book. It used to come out once a year, and now it's coming out twice a year.
Right. So we're actually going to wait, and we have been so busy with all of our shows that we felt that we just couldn't do the spring book in time. So we're going to combine all the artists that have signed up for spring. We're putting them into fall. So we're still going to do one book, and then we're going to give ourselves a little bit more time to plan for 2022 to do spring. It's just been overwhelming. And
yeah, I bet.
It's just crazy. Like, it's just so much going on with all of our shows. We had a wonderful ACA, exhibit, and congratulations for you selling 3 pieces.
Thanks.
Those beautiful aqua pieces. Oh my gosh, they went into a private home. They go right into, like, this home is gorgeous, and you go into this long hallway to the pool, and your pieces right there against the wall. And she thought that they were beautiful because they reminded her of the water, the colors, the aqua, and just sunshine. So it's what you see when you're going in and out of the pool.
That's
So
great. I appreciate that.
yeah,
I know I was
yeah.
so disappointed because usually I really do love to fly down to Cincinnati for the Art Comes Alive gala. You
Oh,
know,
next
not
year for
only,
sure.
absolutely,
No,
like not only
actually,
because
we're going
it's,
to do it. We'll do it in October this year. So because of
okay,
COVID, it was delayed, and we had to have 2020, the opening in 2021. But we're back on track now. So
okay, that
I
will be
don't know,
good.
has everyone gotten their vaccine up near you? I mean, how's that going?
We're working on it. It's kind of by age and by where you live. So I'm not quite at the age group where I've had mine yet, but a number of my friends are starting to get it. So, and we just
Okay.
actually got another stay-at-home order, so we're basically locked in for in
What?
Toronto. Yeah. Well, we have, I guess, three of the variants are pretty rampant in Toronto right now, and so they just want to make sure they kind of get a handle on it.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
so for Canadian artists, even more important that we have sales and opportunities south of the border because Canada's pretty locked down still.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. I mean, right
Mhm.
now here in Ohio, they're vaccinating everybody, 16 years old and over. You
Yeah, we're
know,
working on it. We seem to be slow.
everybody I know has been vaccinated.
Yeah.
Wow. So just hang tight. It's going to be good for you too. Just hang
Yep.
tight.
It will be, and I'm so looking forward to going to Art Comes Alive because I think one of the things I love about that too is that it's an opportunity to, well, to sell your work, which is always cool, and go to a fun gala and dress up. But I really love to be able to meet all those other artists from, across Canada and the US, and you
Yeah.
build great relationships that then leverage into a whole bunch of other things, which is really
Right.
fabulous.
Yep. That's. Oh, I can't wait for you to come down.
Yeah, it'd be
I want
good.
you to see our new place. It's just so cool.
Yeah, so we decided just randomly during COVID to open two new galleries. You're
Yeah.
crazy woman.
Just because I am crazy. I figure, we all have a limited time on this planet. We might as well do the most that we can with the time we have.
Yeah. And you
So
had
I'm
such an incredible
excited to do
space.
it.
Like you had such an incredible space on that penthouse with a beautiful view. So what made you decide that you needed to move?
So I was there 10 years, and it was an incredible space. I mean, it was beautiful. And but my lease came up, and I went to renegotiate with my landlord, and he doubled my rent.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So I never thought I'd be leaving that space because it really was awesome.
Hmm.
But I never thought that I could find a place better. And I did. When one door closes, another one opens.
Opens.
So
Yeah.
at the time, believe me, I didn't think that was going to happen, but I found an even better space that's even larger. This one's 13,000 square feet. And it's given us the opportunity to display and sell even more. And we've been in there about 4 months now, and it's a dream come true.
Yeah. It
I
looks
love
amazing. Yeah. And
it.
so
It's,
your doors, you got your doors from, has something to do with Martin Luther King or some sort of connection or
yeah,
something?
Martin Luther King stepped through those doors. They
That's cool.
belonged to the very first African American mayor of Cincinnati, and he invited Martin Luther King Jr. over to their home, and he was only like 29 years old, but he walked through those doors. So they have a real rich history to them. It's pretty
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. It looks beautiful. And so one gallery I can get. So what was the impetus for the second gallery?
So okay, so the second gallery, because the first one wasn't done, it was delayed for a year. And so I had to, when I did not renew my former lease, I had to find a space for my team and I to go in that interim, while the other one, the new one, was being built out. So I found a gallery in a beautiful area of Cincinnati, very affluent area, and it's 5,000 square feet. That's where we are now. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a year lease and just see how the retail business is. And of course, right after we moved in, we were shut down because of COVID. But then we reopened, and we stayed here until the new space was finished. And then my team and I of 10, we all moved there. And now my sister runs this gallery. So
Oh, lovely.
it's worked out really well. And people are coming in. We're doing a lot of residential, more than we've ever done. So
Oh,
that's
that's
been really
fabulous.
good. Yeah.
And so the other thing you've done, which I think is incredible. So by the way, I think I need to send you more work since you're selling my work. I have to send you more to replace
Yes.
it, which I definitely will do.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk about your book as well. So Secrets of the Art World, because that really is designed to help artists. And I think that we all know that we need a lot of help in terms of the business area. So maybe talk a bit about that and maybe some of the tips you might recommend sort of to artists to get involved in blank or get involved in their gallery or just generally to improve their businesses.
So the main reason I wrote the book is because, I was celebrating 25 years of business, and I thought that was a landmark year. I had been through the recession. I mean, I've seen everything, and I've experienced everything, and I wanted to share those experiences and that knowledge that I've gained throughout the years with artists. And it's a business book for artists. It is not a book on how to paint. It is a book on how to be more successful in in what you've chosen to do as a career. And take your passion in life and make a living doing it. So that is the premise for the book. And so it covers pretty much everything. I've brought in other people, other gallery owners, other art consultants, even other artists that have been successful. I brought them in as part of the book to share their stories and what they think are important for artists to know. So there's everything from social media to marketing, how to price your art, how to get into a gallery, so many different things, accounting, like all these things that, even time management that artists need to know so they can treat their art as a business.
And if someone was just starting out, what do you think is kind of the most important thing for artists to know then from a business point of view?
So as an artist starting out, because the book is really for everybody, starting out, I mean, even for mid-career and later career artists, you can always build on those skills. Mm-hmm. But I think the main thing for an artist that's starting is have the mindset that it's a business. You cannot rely on others. You have to set yourself up as a business. So you cannot lock yourself up in your studio and expect people to come to you. You've got to take the action to get to people so they can learn about you, and then then you can reach out to them. So people will not come to you. You have to go to them. And that can happen in so many different ways.
Yeah, well, and certainly we see that all the time with artists that just say, I just want to be in my studio, I just want to have a gallery to represent me. It's like, but even that is a relationship that you have to understand the business piece of that, right? Like, what are you as an artist giving up? How is the artist working with you? How is the gallery partnership going to benefit both parties?
Mm-hmm. And that is a very important part of an artist's career, is that relationship with the galleries and the art consultants. Without a relationship, you're not going to get anywhere. And so that is where, if you're just starting out, you have to really develop your story. What makes you special? What is going to draw people to you? And Kate, you're so good at this. Is developing the story, and it keeps going. What are you doing today? What are you planning on doing tomorrow? All the things that make you special. Why does your art stand out? How can they remember you? And it's all about storytelling and developing, who you are, so that people can relate to you. And once they relate to you, then they take notice. And if it's a gallery, they take notice and they might want to bring you in. If it's a collector out there, they will say, oh, wow, I love her work, but I also love her story. So it all kind of ties in together.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think that, that whole important thing about remembering who your target audience is as an artist. Like, sometimes your audience is the client directly, sometimes your audience is the gallery owner or the consultant or kind of, so you have to wear many hats, I guess, as an artist.
Right, you have to look at your audience, because a collector is going to want to is going to be different than a gallery owner or an art consultant or an interior designer. So you have to really look at who you're marketing to and who you want to reach out to. And it could be everybody, but it has to be segmented the way, like what you say through social media is different than to an artist versus what you say to a potential collector or to an existing collector, that
Right.
message.
And that line is getting blurred and quite challenging now with so many artists having such an online presence and galleries now having online stores. And we had a kind of interesting conversation last week about that change. So how are you kind of addressing that change, or what are your thoughts on it?
I think that it's important to go out there in as many different ways that you can. And you cannot stay in your studio and just work and expect things to happen. You've got to just try different things. Trust me, I've tried so many things in my career too. And some have been a big success, and some of them have been a big fail. So, and you learn from when you fail.
Yeah.
And you learn about yourself, and you have to be able to put yourself out there and try at least.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think that, I've done a lot of different things, and I feel like all of those things provide building blocks to get to you where you are now. And it is sometimes through those failures that are so difficult sometimes and devastating while you're going through them. But if you can kind of have a step back and realize what you've learned from them, often they're more valuable sometimes than the successes that sometimes come more easily.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. As a kid, you fall down and you get back up and you do it a different way if you're riding your bike or whatever. So you just learn through your mistakes, and to me, it's all good.
So what do you think is the biggest mistake that artists make in approaching galleries?
I think the number one mistake that an artist makes is by not presenting themselves in a professional light. So, and what I mean by that is you can't just show up. You have to call and make an appointment and visit the gallery director or the owner when they're prepared, when they have the time for you. Another mistake that artists make is they don't have a good enough or a broad enough body of work to present. Gallery owners want to see a cohesive style that, I call it a signature style that makes you unique from someone else they might represent. So you need to do your research to make sure it's a good fit for that gallery, and then present to them, once you do the research, present to them art that they feel like they could sell to their clients. Because they have a lot of bills, a lot of overhead. So that's why galleries are selective. They can't just bring on anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and how do you recommend artists partner with galleries, especially in the online world where artists are promoting themselves and their own work as well as the galleries, and the galleries are promoting their work, and there's all these different conduits of communication for the collectors?
So are you talking about online galleries only, or brick and mortar galleries?
Well, I think brick and mortar galleries mostly seem to have an online portion, so I was kind of including everything. Yeah. Okay.
So, and what was your question again?
Well, I guess, and this is something I'm just trying to sort out for myself, so this is a selfish question really, mm-hmm. is that, like, a lot of the galleries are closed or limited, so they're kind of online. So obviously I'm promoting my own work. If my work is in a certain gallery, I'll absolutely promote that gallery. But then for a collector, sometimes there's a blurring of where the relationship is and who they approach and how they approach either a gallery or mm-hmm. the artist directly. So it's a challenge to navigate, I think.
That is a very good question, Kate, because it really is something that needs to be addressed. I think the number one thing is, if you are represented by a gallery or multiple galleries and you're also selling your work on your own, that just as long as you keep your price point consistent. So no one is stepping over anybody's toes. So, I want to make sure that if an artist that I'm representing, that I'm working hard to market, so there's a lot of work behind the scenes that has to be done. If there's, if I'm working towards getting art sold by a specific artist, that if for some reason somebody reaches out to them, that the pricing remains the same. So it doesn't make us look bad that we are marking up the piece or the pieces, you know. So there's got to be that trust for the artists and the gallery that we all know that the price structure is going to stay the same. If a lead comes from a gallery, like if someone says, oh, I walked into so-and-so gallery and I want to see more of your work, I think it's important that you give that gallery the respect of commission from that sale.
Yeah.
Because again, if they wouldn't have walked in or if they wouldn't have seen the work from that gallery, you would have never gotten that lead. So you have to, I think it's important that you are honest with the gallery and that they get something out of it as well.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think that, because the reality is for an artist, the more people you have selling your work, the better off ultimately you're going to be. And trying to do it all yourself becomes limiting. You only have so much time.
Yes, and if you hurt the gallery and and they don't trust you anymore, trust me, that will not be good for your career.
Yeah.
Because a lot of gallery owners know each other all across the country and in Canada, and we all know each other. And if there's an artist that isn't honest and that takes advantage of that gallery, isn't fair, trust me, it's not good.
Yeah. Are there things that that you find artists sometimes do that does question the trust for the galleries that are maybe unintentional?
Unintentional, I mean, maybe not to ask the question of how did you initially see my work? I'm just trying to think of, that would be just, and then really just making sure that the prices are where they should be and consistent across the board. I don't really think there's
really transparency, right? I mean, I'm sure a gallery can understand if an artist missteps unintentionally or accidentally, versus kind of constantly going around somebody. Yeah. Okay. Just interested to know your thoughts too about social media and how artists can use social media then to increase their profiles and then obviously help get the work out there.
Yeah, social media is great. I say absolutely do it. And if you don't have the time to do it, get someone to help you with it. I have hired interns from the universities in town, and internships are great. They can come in, they can help you do some social media, they can write some copy for you, because copy is super important too. So the visuals, as well as, like we talked about before, the story, writing content, writing really meaningful content is very important. So get some help, but definitely get out there on social media. You have to.
It just sometimes seems overwhelming. Sometimes the amount of work.
There's a lot.
Well, like running any business, right? Like as an artist, you're not only running the business, you're producing the works that's being sold.
You have to make the time to do it. You just have to make the time to do it. And for me, like, I do my own social media, my personal social media on Instagram and Facebook, and then but I have a marketing guy, my marketing director, Mark. He does all our different platforms with social media. So he might take a blog. Let's say we do a story on a client, on an installation. So he will take that content and the images, and then he will push it out on all of ADC and Blink's social media platforms. So that takes a lot of effort. He works full time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Sometimes when I get those stats on how much time have I spent on Instagram a day, I'm like, oh, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
I think it is worth it for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think you have to get yourself out there. And I think that I always feel like it's easier for the gallery to sell your work as well if the client goes in and at least has an understanding of the work and has a sense of who the artist is versus it being cold, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you find there's a difference selling to, you're saying you're doing more residential, so more to residential clients versus corporate clients?
So, they're totally different. Selling to those clients are totally different. And I have to be honest with you, I love it. I love both. when I originally started the business, and actually for the past 20 years, I've really only focused on healthcare and corporate. But now, because of COVID, we're doing much more residential, and it is so different because most of the times you're working with just one person or two people, or you get the designer in there and it's three people. And so and a lot of times they don't know, and the husband might say, I love it. The wife might say, I don't. The designer says, well, the colors have to be just right. You have all that to deal with. The corporate work, on the other hand, is, they hire me. They give me a lot of times a budget, and I run with it. I know what their brand, their image is all about, and I might show them a few things to get rolling on it, and then the rest of it, they just, you just do it. And,
Well, maybe
but there's
yeah, so I guess they have a different sense, right? Because they want something that's going to create an environment and be peaceful, or whatever the theme is of what they're showing if it's corporate, versus if it's residential, it is much more personal. And I think people look at things maybe a bit more closely.
So with a company, it's a lot of times it's about their brand. Like, what image do they want to project to their employees, to their clients, to their vendors, whoever it might be? What is the image that they want to put out there about themselves? And that is what I work with. Whether it's, there's so many different things that come into play. On a residential, it has to speak to the homeowners. What is a reflection of their personality? So to a company, it's the brand. To the homeowners, it's their personality. So they kind of overlap on different scale, and I've had companies that have come to me and they've said, Litsa, we need to fill a whole building, here's the budget. Or I've had companies come to me.
That sounds like fun.
I know. We need to fill the whole building, and you tell us what we should spend. And the same thing goes with private collectors. Sometimes they don't even look like the client that I just had come in here today. It was the CEO of GE Aviation. So
wow.
It's the new CEO had done the previous CEO's offices a few years back. He recently retired, and then the new CEO said, hey, I'd like to come over. And he is moving here from out of town. He is building a new home. It's a contemporary home. And I had an opportunity to meet him. And so it's, it goes from their offices, which I did. I worked on their offices. And now he came in and I said, do you need something for your new office? And he goes, I like what you did in the other CEO's office. I like that. I think I'm going to stick with that because I just built a really huge house. I think I need some new art for that. I said, you're looking at the right person.
That's amazing.
Because I know, I bet, he goes, I bet you are really excited about this. I said, yes, I am. So, so it just, you just go with it, with whatever comes your way, and you just got to go for it.
Yeah, it's interesting, I find, because I find often, when I do a lot of commissions and stuff, and one of the challenges I find sometimes is when you have that push-pull between the interior designer and the owners, in terms of, I have one woman, she's so stressed that the painting is going to clash with her beige walls and things like that, and the interior designer sometimes acerbates that scenario with, like, the orange has to match the cushions, right? And to a certain degree, the reality is the work has to fit in with the environment. But I think sometimes it undermines the client's passion for a piece or their love for the piece because they're choosing the correct piece as opposed to the one they love.
Right. And that is a big issue with me because I am a believer that your art should not match your sofa. I'm a believer that art should, there should be a connection between you and the piece. Whether it's the color, the style, the technique, the artist story, there should be, in all of those, there should be a connection. So I am one to tell a designer, and sometimes they don't want to hear this, it should not match perfectly. It should coordinate. Let's find things that will coordinate, but that also have a meaning. and make the space come alive. And
Yeah.
that sometimes is really hard for certain designers to understand because they want, you know, and there was this whole trend recently where everything had to be neutral. Where everything, white walls, neutral furniture, neutral art, and it was a blah space. Like it would end up being like, oh my gosh. So luckily we're moving out of that. And I don't know if you saw a lot of that too, Kate.
Well, I did, but it's
neutral.
But it's funny because that's actually my sweet spot. Like I recognize that what happens is that people build these beautiful renovations or homes and everything's neutral, and all of a sudden they're like, but where's me? Where's my personality? Where's my pop of color? And so I find often they buy my pieces for that because
and same
it's
here.
not white.
They'll come to us and they say, you know, we need color. But if their designer says keep it neutral, then they'll want to keep it neutral. They're scared. They're scared.
Yes.
So it's.
I think that's unfortunate. I think it's really unfortunate that sometimes, I mean, you know, designers obviously are very much there to help and guide. But I think some designers have a hard time separating their own vision with what the client wants. And I think it's sometimes the clients don't feel comfortable or confident in their own art buying decisions, which is unfortunate because I'm sure they're confident buying a new pair of shoes or a purse or whatever that's got certain colors that they love, but somehow with art there seems to be a different criteria for making decisions.
I 100% agree. Yeah.
But, well, we'll work on them. Bring more color into the world. So are you finding, speaking of designers, now that things are moving more towards color, are you finding there's trends or colors that are really resonating now?
Definitely, yes. The aquas are beautiful, sunny colors, yellows. You do know the color of the year, which is actually two colors now. It's
yellow and gray.
Yellow and gray is color. And the new Blink book is going to be yellow and gray. It's going to be so sunny. Oh, it's going to be gorgeous. And it's a different shade of yellow. It's sort of like an acidy kind of a lemon yellow.
A cool yellow.
It's a cool yellow. It's beautiful. So I am not seeing as much red as I used to, but although my appointment now, he went to red pieces. He went to red. So you can't cancel out anything. But as far as trends overall in the industry, orange, teals, turquoises, charcoal.
I'm thrilled.
Not necessarily black, but charcoal. Yellows, of course, and of course your neutrals always have a role in the art. You know, you got to have that neutral to balance. You can't have color everywhere. So neutrals are good too. But yeah, and another trend that I'm seeing is people want a variety of mediums and a variety of styles. So that's kind of neat. Sculpture, you've got glass. We just sold one of Renato's pieces.
Oh, love his work.
Yeah, so people want to do a nice mix. That really brings a lot of personality into their homes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's great. I think it's. I'm happy to see more color because it was. I found that there was definitely people that were attracted to the work but kind of scared. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it makes you happy. Like
absolutely.
I love color.
Oh, yeah. Me too. I'm ultimately, I say I'm a self-indulgent artist, so I just paint the colors I love.
Yeah, and I gave you a little, I don't know if you saw that, maybe it was on Instagram, but I told you to take all your shadings and create something with them.
Yeah,
because those are beauties in themselves.
They're cool.
Those little wood shadings that you pull off. You should do something with those.
Yeah.
Encase them within some resin. Throw them on something. I mean, you've got to come up with something to do with those. That's my advice to you, Kate.
Okay. No, I agree. It's one of those things where I've been doing it for years, and every time I throw them in the garbage, I'm like, oh, but they're so pretty because of the fact of the way I paint. You get their layers, so they're multicolored, right? So,
they're so pretty.
So now I'm saving them.
Dimension, curl. There's got to be some way you can work with those. I want you to come up with something.
Okay, I will do that.
That's your challenge for the day.
I will, for my day.
Or for whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can promise by the end of the day. But yeah, definitely, I think you're right. I think it's kind of fun. And that's also part of the creative process, right, of how do you kind of take something and make it more fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so what's up for the future? Like, what do you have planned moving forward?
Oh my gosh, we have so many. So our new space is so beautiful and so unique. We are going to be part of a national reality TV show.
Oh, cool.
So that's really exciting. And it's called The Collective, the Fashion Show. And it's connecting celebrity designers, fashion designers, with models, and it's going to launch. We're launching it out of our gallery at the end of July, and all of these celebrities are coming in, and it's gonna be really cool, and it'll be it's the beginning of it coming up. So that's gonna be super exciting.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds
There's going to
great.
be fashion shows, and it's going to go out there on a national basis. So more to come for that, but that's kind of a new exciting thing. And of course, we're always working on cool projects.
Yeah. Yeah.
All kinds.
You always seem to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
It never ends at ADC.
so because I know I will get asked now. So, if an artist is interested in being represented by ADC, what is the process that they have to go through?
So, we focus on our artists that are in the book because we want to really do the most that we can with the artists in the Blink book. So, and when you are part of Blink, you're also part of our family of artists, not only in Blink, but at ADC. So we work with you for an entire year. You get lots of love through social media. You're in both galleries. We show and sell your work constantly. And so it's kind of a wonderful thing that that model really works for us. So that's what we're doing. And we're happy to send anybody a book. We're happy to schedule a time to talk to you a little bit more about it. We are super easy to work with. And Kate, you know that. You've been with us for 4 years now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's a gorgeous book. I agree. It's one of those ones that's it looks really beautiful, and I'm actually quite interested too because if I found that I've been approached by art designers and stuff who have referenced books that I did like 2 or 3 years ago. So you kind of know that people keep these as references over the years too, which is nice.
It's a beautiful book, and no one throws it out. I mean, it really is the most beautiful book. And the reason why is it costs us $100,000. The book costs $100,000 to print. And then it's about $3 to $5 to ship. So it costs us about $40,000 just to ship it to all of these people because we don't charge any of the people who get it for anything. We want them to see the high quality art that's in the book, and it's all about their image. So, that's why it's been so successful. It's not inexpensive. And so when the artists are in the book, it covers the expense for the book. But we love it too because then it gives us new artists that we can work with. Mm-hmm. So it's a win-win for everybody.
And so you have to apply to be in the book, right? Like it's not one of those things where you just you have a heartbeat and a So which I also like about it because it's kind of there's a certain caliber of work that's in there, which is I'm always proud to be part of.
Absolutely. No, it's a juried collection of artists, and it's split up into different categories. We've got installations, we've got, sculpture, paintings, mixed media, photography. So we are very selective in who we put in there, and we want a very diverse collection of artists. So it's something I'm really proud of, for sure. Yeah.
Excellent. So
Thank you for having me.
No, it's been lovely, and we're almost out of time. So I usually end up these interviews with asking a question which almost seems redundant for you, but I will anyway. So if time and money were no option, what would your big hairy ass goal be for the future?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm pretty much living my dream right now. So my future is just to sell more art. I mean, just to keep going, just to never stop and never stop having fun. Never stop having fun doing what you love to do. Yeah.
And I think it must be super fun to work with your sister too, because I know you guys are really close.
It's a dream come true. Yeah. I think she just walked in the door too.
Did she? Oh, you can bring her on board and say hi.
It's 2 o'clock. Here, I'm going to walk over. And see, she's probably freshening up her lipstick, but I am going to walk over here. And I want to show you a little bit, you and all of your fans. We've got the watercolor, the National Watercolor Society here in the gallery.
Oh, lovely.
So we have a beautiful exhibition. Hey,
there she is.
Here. Kate Taylor. Kate Taylor. She's doing an Instagram live. So
Hi.
say hi.
Hey, how you doing? Oh my
Good,
gosh,
how are
good to
you?
see you. I didn't
Good to
need
see
to
you.
photobomb your,
It's
your
totally okay.
So she asked me how we love working together. And I told her it's a dream come true.
what do you think?
Yeah, I
I
know. I totally
we
get it.
actually, we're, you know,
We are the best team.
well, Kate, you know from before, we always work together.
Yeah.
So this is not a new template. It's just in the same, out of the same roof
Yeah.
now. So we've combined, our talents and it's really good. It's really good.
It's
We're
been a
having
blast.
so much fun.
We're having a
and
blast.
We're selling some amazing art
We
and putting together some exhibitions that are world class,
I know.
which of course your work is included in.
Yeah, of
And
course.
so
Thank you.
life is really good. Like we are truly blessed,
Mm-hmm.
truly blessed to be together. So
Well,
anyway,
and that's amazing.
that's all I have to say.
That was a great
And
photo
you know what,
bomb.
Katie? If you want Sylvia to do another feature coming up, another Instagram, I know you'd be open to it.
I'm totally
Sure.
open to it. Yeah.
Because she might shed another perspective on it. Sylvia, her forte is private collectors, and she's worked with them for 20 plus
Decades,
years.
yes.
So, you might want to do another segment with her.
Absolutely, I will. If you're open to that, that'd be great.
We just did a fun podcast with actually
Real estate.
with real estate, and it was totally fun. And we talked about the connections between home and the things that you put into it that makes a house uniquely yours in your home. So it was a lot of fun. So you can check that out and see what I have to say about all that.
Yeah, I will for sure. And I'd love to have you on board because I think, a lot of the people that listen to Talking to Artists, of course, are artists. And so they're always interested to understand kind of trends and what galleries are selling and what galleries are seeing. So you can kind of feed into that.
Yeah, we do. We definitely can impart some of our experiences into the scenario anyway. But yeah, it's a blast. We're having a fun time. How are you doing? You doing good?
Oh, great. Yeah. Well, my sister and I are working on a joint show right now called My Family Garden. Because our grandmother is an artist as well, so we're actually working on a collaborative kind of show that will all be pieces almost like you're looking at a window to a garden, and then we're working on similar colors, and we're kind of playing back and forth with the color palettes. So that's supposed to be in June, so it's going to be exciting.
That is awesome.
I totally love that. So anyway, good luck with it. And we're very happy.
Thanks so much.
See you later. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Okay, well, that was fabulous. I really appreciate it. That was great. I really enjoyed talking to Litsa and her sister Sylvia, a real dynamo team. So if you have any questions about Blink, then obviously you can kind of catch, I think it's, ADC Fine Art has a link to Blink. I don't know the pricing, but they will let you know. But I've certainly found that it's a pretty good investment for your business. And the one thing I would say is if you're going to move forward with that investment, just make sure you make it worth your while and actually really spend some serious time thinking about the pieces you're going to put in there and how they're going to be presented and how they might fit into corporate environments, so that it makes the likelihood of you being more successful more likely. And they also have your stuff on a website as well. So they're very collaborative, so I would advise you to reach out to them, and then if you decide to move forward, really work with them as a team to kind of get the most out of that opportunity. So thank you so much for listening to the session, and I will again post this on my Facebook page. It'll be on youtube.com/Kate Taylor Art, and eventually it will become on my podcast, Talking to Artists, which can be found on Google Podcasts, Apple, and Spotify. Have a great day, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.